Invictus, Hustle Hard. These are teams with a lot of years under the belts here at the CrossFit Games. A couple of the teams that we'll kind of take a look at in heat number 1. We'll start it out in lane number 2 of CrossFit Queens, and across CrossFit Invictus in lane 7 will be a contender. They are underway, and they're going to start off with this bike erg.
And what the challenge here to do is, it's almost just calm your nerves a little bit. It's heat 1, it's event 1, it's day 1 of the CrossFit Games. Whether you're a rookie or experienced team, there's a lot of adrenaline and excitement that comes into play here. And it might be these athletes' first times on the biker. And what you want to do is just kind of find your pace to set your pace for the rest of the event. And it's all going to play into a factor of who's the best, or not who's the best, who's going to have the hardest time on the bike coming into this event. And what the team needs to do is just kind of play to that weakness of them. And now what you want to see is have these athletes push the pace a little bit so you don't slow the team down. You got 3 people that's going to be pulling on that giant barbell, so they can help them out just a little bit if they waste too much energy on the bike.
Far right of your screen is lane 10. To the left will be lane 1. That's how they will order up here across the field of play at the North Park with the Zeus rig in the background. Won't be part of this event, but we'll see it, of course, throughout the week here at the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. As we pan across, Chase, the strategy in this, of course, with 3 rounds, you can only blow yourself up here in the first round.
I mean, if you take the words of the demo team to heart of how deceptively challenging this is going to be, it's different than the assault bike. The assault bike, I feel like, is a bit more metabolic, meaning it's a full body type implement. Here with the biker, it's just straight legs, right? And that's what I'm saying is just understand the pace you need to come in for the first part. Everyone's saying they're excited, they want to go fast, you don't need to. Increase your effort each round. Crescendo that effort from round 1 to round 3. And then the transitions, they're going to be moving that bar down the floor. You can't waste time in between because now you're going to be 30, 40, 50 feet away from your bike in between each round. So transitions will matter towards the end.
Well, the teams again must complete here 3 rounds, 1,600 meters all total. Each member on the bike erg then get to the 25 deadlifts. So we'll wait and see. The first team that will pop off the bike and make their way onto that big deadlift bar looming ahead of them just off to the left of your screen. Back to CrossFit Queens. We talked about them out of Astoria, New York. They were 26 a year ago. Didn't expect to qualify. Now they're an experienced team.
Well, they qualified because a team got disqualified from the regional, so they got a late bid here to the games. So you see some familiar names: Ian Berger, Amy Dracup. Now, what I also see is a lot of height discrepancy. You got Amy Dracup, who's 5'3", and then Ian Berger, who's 6 feet tall. Right, so I want to see how that plays on the barbell now that we have all 4 athletes lifting at the same time.
Off to the left, Ian Berger getting that weight belt ready as he is near the end of his meters. Hands going up, less than 50 meters remaining for these teams.
And what this is going to do is this is going to set the tone for the rest of the event. You want to be able to try to match this time on the bike erg every time you get there. Now, it's going to take more effort to do that, but you want to make sure there's some consistency.
So the team starting to peel off. It was CrossFit East Tamaki out of Auckland, New Zealand, the first team off in lane number 3, but they were followed immediately by CrossFit Queens, who we just show you near the top of your screen. They'll do 15 of these deadlifts. There's Tamaki in lane number 3, one of the most successful teams out of that region in the Pacific in the history of the games.
In the region, yes, but at the games, no. Tamaki is usually in like a bottom mid-30 team when it comes to the CrossFit Games, and that just goes to show you the difference between regionals and the games.
Again, as they roll it forward, that will be your set of 10 coming up. They'll do 15 of the deadlifts, then on to the 10.
And just think about that, Jeff. 15 and 10. That's 25 deadlifts around with a 715 pounds on that bar. Now, different than we've seen in the past is this is an even weight distribution. We didn't see that at regionals. Now, watch how far they need to roll this bar. These are 30-foot sections on this competition field. That's a long way to push a barbell. This is what I like to see. Running back to the bike ergs, that's going to be more imperative as we move into rounds 2 and especially round 3 when you're talking about saving seconds towards the end.
Pro 1 was the first team to run back. They made up a little bit of ground, but if you look at the rep count top of your screen, backcountry CrossFit in the blue, highlighted at 57 reps. Smoggy and Pro 1 off to the right. It'll show you how many repetitions they are behind. That'll keep you updated with your top 3 here as they begin round number 2 of the 1,600-meter bike erg, and then back to another 25 deadlifts.
And if you're looking at the first splits of the 1,600-meter bike, all of them are sitting between about 315 to 330. So if you're looking at the splits that take that, that's about a 2-minute pace for a 1,000-meter split on a bike erg. So different than a traditional rower where you might see that 500-meter split. On the bike erg, it's 1,000-meter splits.
You've heard the name CrossFit. You may have. CrossFit Pro 1. They're out of Quebec. They were 5th in the East. They've got some games experience. However, this team, all new games rookies. Even though it's a familiar affiliate, all the athletes, regional vets, with their first trip to the games.
And that makes a huge difference. I think what's so different about teams, we have a team in this heat called CrossFit Invictus. That's not the same CrossFit Invictus as we've seen over the last 10 years at the CrossFit Games. Them and Mayhem both have 2 teams here this weekend. But if you talk about Pro 1 specifically, big-time team name at the CrossFit Games level. Everyone on this team is a rookie, as you said. So, you see familiar team names, but you got to understand it's not like the individual competition. It's not always the same team that's been here.
That is a look at the kind of the new Invictus team. They've got 3 teams under the Invictus banner with Boston and Invictus X. This is the Invictus team, but again, a lot different look.
I mean, think how many teams they qualified at regionals. It was like 4 teams in the West out of CrossFit Invictus alone. So the expanse of what this affiliate is doing is incredible, especially when you think about the caliber of athletes.
So this is round number 2 of round number 3 in the bike deadlift. The hands go up from the judges behind the Concept 2 bike erg. They are nearing the end of their bike and will make their way down the competition floor here at the North Park in Madison, Wisconsin at the Alliant Energy Center campus. Outstanding job that the crew did to put this expanded field together out here. It's beautiful out here.
I mean, let's be clear. This was an empty parking lot a few months ago. And we're talking, they laid asphalt, they laid turf. I mean, they built these grandstands. The monstrosity of this course is unbelievable.
Right around 10,000 will be the capacity of this year's North Park. Last year it was split between the turf field and, remember, last year's O course. You take a look at Vendor Village off to your left. There's the Alliant Energy Center Coliseum, where we'll be in a little bit later. That is the campus, and at the top is where the age groups are now competing, and they are underway. But we are here at the North Park Stadium in round number 2 of the bike and deadlift. This is heat 1 of event 1, and here we go. It's going to be Pro 1 again, making their way to the 4-person barbell.
I really like their transitions between the two, because what you're going to see a lot of teams do is let the fatigue on the bike discourage their effort back to the barbell.
Now it's CrossFit Omni out of Denver, Colorado, 5th out of the South. Had a pretty good showing last year where they finished 13th overall after a Cinderella run in 2016. And here come the remainder of the heats. Now Pro 1 will join them. Up top of your screen, that's CrossFit Queens, who we talked about earlier. The top, that's lane number 2. But it's Omnia, Queens, and Backcountry and Kilo kind of sharing that 3rd place spot right now as we take a look again at CrossFit Queens. Currently 5 reps back of Omnia.
Now look at what Queens is doing. They put the guys on the outside that are very similar in height and your strongest athletes of the 4. You want to put, if you can, the athletes that can have the most impact on the bar, and that will be the edges. What I usually put in the middle is kind of your outliers. Either it's the tallest person or the shortest person. Maybe it's the weakest person of the group, where they won't have as much of an effect on the bar in a negative way. I like how they're set up as far as how their team is made up in terms of strengths and heights.
They'll split the round of 10 up, and here's kind of really where it gets nasty. The second round of the deadlifts, you really feel it in the hamstrings.
It gets nasty, and it also gets real. And I think a lot of athletes know what that feels like. It's like I said, round 1, you're going to feel great. Man, this bike is awesome. I love the C2 bike. Why don't I have one in my gym? And then you come back to round 2, and you're like, this bike sucks. I think we should burn them all.
Omnia and Pro 1 making their way back. There goes Queens at the top of your screen. So that's your top 3 now. Omnia, Pro 1, and CrossFit Queens, the top 3 here in heat number 1. Omnia got out to a pretty good start. They had the lead on the first split at 3:16 on the bike. They maintained the overall lead. However, Pro 1 did that second set of deadlifts, Chase, in just over a minute.
And they did. In Omnia, it was about 1:30. But just to see the length that they're moving across the field, now you have a 60 to 70 foot run in between your bike and the deadlift bar. So when these teams are moving into their third and final bike, still taking about 3:30, maybe approaching more that 4-minute mark. So they were done right around that 8-9 minutes, so we'll probably come off at 12. But what Omnia needs to really understand is their strength happens to be the bike, as they're at 3:16 and 3:06, the top two best splits for each round. That being said, you can see it's starting to take its toll on the deadlift. So where's more bang for your buck? I almost think hanging back a little bit less on the bike, save the legs and lungs, because you're going to need it for those 25 deadlifts at the end.
And you can hear the fan in the background of the 4 Concept 2 bike ergs. Nearing the 11-minute mark, we do have a 16-minute time cap, and that's a look at the monitor there in lane number 5 of what they have to look at.
It helps to see. What it also does is, we said, and it's cool to hear the bikes, but you also want to hear these athletes talk to each other. Who's going to struggle the most? You can kind of see the pace. Right, and that's that 1,000-meter pace I was talking about, 150 to 2 minutes. That's going to get you off in about 3. Right, so if Omnia is pushing that pace, you can see Kilo's kind of moved up in the lead as well. You want to make sure is that everyone's pulling the same rope and that we're all working at least hard where we should. If your best dude can just casually bike and just be fresh because their weakest athlete will be done 30 seconds later, then I'm going to be done when you're done, because the event's going to come down to these last 25 deadlifts.
And you talked about it on your keys to the event earlier, Chase. We're nearing the 12-minute mark with 16-minute time cap. Yes, it looks short because it's 3 rounds. It's really a long event, and you need to be able to pace up as you move along through this event.
And especially with this third bike, you're coming in, you've had 2 rounds of deadlifts so far, 50 total reps as a team, and then moving into your third and final round on the bike. So you now know what it's going to feel like. You should have set your pace early, maintained it for 2, and try to hold on for the third round. And what everyone needs to just be thinking is that they can look across the competition field and see that barbell waiting for them, knowing what's in store. That's tough. That's tough looking at a monitor to begin with. Now looking at what's left to go, just looming in the background for those athletes.
Omnia and Pro 1 battle for that top spot. Omnia with about a rep lead here on the bike erg. As you see the hands go up, there you are, just about done here with the 1,600 meters, and here they come.
Hey, best split on the bike yet again. But they got caught by 2 other teams on that second set of deadlifts.
Key is how far ahead can they get on the deadlifts, because here comes Queens off to the left of your screen. They have passed Pro 1. So right now you have Omnia in the middle of your screen, to your left, top of the screen. That is CrossFit Queens trying to get the heat win. Down below, here comes Backcountry CrossFit. And in the middle, jogging up, CrossFit Pro 1. Omnia takes a break in the set of 15.
Now Backcountry in the bottom left has one of the 2 fastest splits on the deadlifts, as Omnia is basically just trying to hold off Queens and Backcountry at this point.
Queens takes the lead by a rep. So Queens in lane 2 now has advanced their barbell.
We said in round 2, Queens made up 30 seconds on Omnia on the deadlift portion alone.
So lane 2, top of your screen. That is the first place team right now, as Queens made the move at Backcountry. Bottom of your screen here in the burgundy tops. That's Backcountry CrossFit. But in the middle, it's going to be Omnia. Boy, they look like they had relinquished the lead because Queens quickly got on their set of 10, but Omnia will take the heat, followed by Pro 1. Now Queens will finish third.
And Queens fell apart on that second set of deadlifts, moving from 15 to 10. They might have put all of their energy in the first set of 15 just to try to catch up to Omnia.
Well, you've got to credit Omnia as you see Backcountry down in lane number 9 making their way on to the finish, Matt, the portion. But it's going to be CrossFit Omnia. And you talked about it in team competitions we've done before, Chase. They knew their pace. They didn't panic when Queens went ahead.
And that's good for them because a lot of teams that don't have that experience will panic. And Omnia is a team that has been here before in 16 and 17. And you got a lot of athletes that have been on that same team over the last 2 years.
1 minute.
So Omnia finishes 14-11-21 unofficially. Kilo about a rep behind. They'll come in. Kodo CrossFit 3 reps behind. A few teams remaining here. We do have a 16-minute time cap. So 45 seconds remain. Lane number 1, top of your screen, out of Buenos Aires, Argentina. They are in. They are the second Argentinian team to qualify. Big Friends qualified twice, most recently a year ago.
You have 30 seconds.
Lane number 3, CrossFit East Hamby. They have multiple time they have finished. Down to lane number 10 coming in. There's lane number 8, Hustle Hard Chris for CrossFit Galileo. The 4th place team out of the Meridian still on the competition floor, as well as that Invictus team we talked about earlier. 10 seconds remain. So Invictus will get in under the time cap. So Galileo will be the only team not to finish. Bottom of your screen, they'll get a cap plus 18 reps for their final score, but it's Omnia who gets the time of 14-11-21 to take heat number 1 with 3 heats remaining here in event number 1 this morning from Madison, Wisconsin.
I would say is Omnia won this heat because of the effort that they put onto the bike. And we're looking at the splits. They had the top 3 splits for rounds 1, 2, and 3. They're first off the bike in round 1. Everybody just kind of getting used to it. Look at that. Look at those beautiful white shoes everybody's wearing. Now, where they had, I would say, less success was on the deadlifts. But I said before is what I like about this event is that though the bike takes longer than the deadlift, the time discrepancy between your top and bottom are about 30 seconds. So you can be good at one thing as long as you're not horrible at the other and still have success.
Let's take a look at how they fell here in heat number 1 of 4 heats here in event number 1. Again, it was Omnia taking it 14-11-21. They had a 7-second lead over Pro 1, Queens, and Backcountry, your top 4 in heat number 1. But Omnia has the time to beat. 3 heats remaining, and heat number 2 is on the way for the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. We get set for heat number 2 of event number 1 from the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games at the North Park Stadium on the Alliant Energy Center campus in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Jeff Brightwell alongside Chase Ingram. Amanda Krenz, we'll hear from her a little bit later on the competition floor as we get set here for what should be another exciting heat on the bike deadlift. We have 3 rounds of it, Chase.
Well, hey, we open up the individuals with some biking action. Why not the teams? So we're pulling out a new implement here at the CrossFit Games, 1,600 meters on the Concept 2 bike erg, followed by 25 team deadlifts. Look at the length and the just massiveness of this barbell. All 4 athletes pulling at the same time. 16-minute cap. Omnia holding on to that time to beat. I think what helps is to see a team go for at least the first heat before we jump into it in heat 2.
Here's how they line up some fun teams to watch. Mayhem Independence, one of the 2 teams from Rich Froning's affiliate in Cookeville in lane 3. Douala, an exciting team to watch out of the Atlantic, who punched their way in there in lane number 1. Underway, and the 4-person teams make their way onto the Concept 2 bike erg. 1,600 meters here before they get to the big deadlift bar.
What we saw in heat number 1 is that this bike erg is taking anywhere between 3:30 to 4 minutes as they get deep into this event. We've seen as fast as 3, and in Omnia, who's currently holding the time to beat at 14:11, they were very strong on the bike erg. They were, the slowest they were was 3:15, almost 30 seconds on average faster than every team in that heat.
So again, 1,600 meters, Chase. You talked about it a little bit in the first heat. Not going to win it here. You can blow yourself up, though.
And that's the thing is, like, we're coming in with a lot of excitement. We're coming in with a lot of energy. We got a few rookie teams out here. And what you just need to do is let the moment kind of set the speed for your team. You're already pumped up, so just know your pace before you get into the race. They should have these in the warm-up area. We should know who the best and the worst person on the team is at this movement. Race to their pace, and as you move from round to round and the bar moves down the field, right, increase the effort in terms of getting off the bike. The transitions need to be flawless. I just said, it's like we're moving down the field. We're adding 30 feet, 60 feet between each round. Those transitions are going to matter towards these final heats.
This is Superhero CrossFit out of New York. You may know them by a more familiar name, their regional name. They go by Fraternity, but of course, once we get to the games, they go by the affiliate. So this is your regional fraternity team, but it is Superhero CrossFit. Everyone gets to kind of play with names at the regional level.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Superhero CrossFit being the name of your affiliate, but Fraternity, they were at the games in 2015. They've made it back here in 2018. You know, and sitting in this heat, I think they should do pretty well. They have some experience here at the games before. Maybe not everybody on the team does, but experience, the weight of experience is so huge for teams. Individually, you can almost be naive enough to be successful at the CrossFit Games. At the team, when you're talking about cohesiveness, teamwork, communication, that's where you see the teams with experience just have an edge on those rookie teams.
They take a lot of pride about being a 100% homegrown team. Their captain, Tiffany Simplinski, as you take a look across the North Park. Lane number 1's the top of your screen, lane 10 closest to you on your camera view here from midfield. You'll know they are near the end of their 1,600 meters when the judges' hands go up.
We're approaching the 3-minute mark, and as we said before, we had a lot of teams off between that 3-minute to 3:30 in the first round. And just look at how calm CrossFit Douala is. You know, chalking their hands up. That's the kind of nice thing. It's only using the legs as opposed to the arms and legs that we see with the assault bike and we saw at the regional level. 4:33, that's Mitchell Sweck. He actually had a twin brother on Training Think Tank, and the part that kind of sucked is they knocked him out of the games in that final event at regionals.
The CrossFit Athletic, the first team to get to the deadlift bar, and it's going to be 715 pounds. And we're a little bit more bunched up than we were in heat number 1 with 3 teams separated. But you've got about 5 or 6 that are pretty close on the splits to get to the first 15 deadlifts.
And that's what we'll see in round 1 of a 3-round event is, you know, everyone will be pretty close. You know, people will do 15. They'll slide it forward and do 10 for your 25 total reps. Now the barbell, look how thick that bar. That's an axle bar. You can't get your fingers around it. You know, that hook grip advantage is gone. So you kind of have to have that switch grip, and it's even across the bar. We saw some uneven weights. We saw it at the games last year where the men's side was a little bit heavier than the women's. I don't know if you guys watched regionals, but that broke those guys off at the regional level. So I think everyone, at least the guys, are most excited to see at least some even weight across the bar.
Athletic at the very top of your screen, followed by Mayhem and Independence, the first 2. And in lane 5, Balance, the third team. So those are your top 3. Now, Fabrican making a move, but Athletic was the first team to race back to the bikes. And again, as we see these teams make their way back to the concept bike erg, we have seen other bikes in past years in team competition. The Assault bike, a very familiar bike that we've used in the past with both the hand paddles and the foot paddles both go, but a little bit different out here this season and how this is going to work. Amanda Krenz is on the competition floor and has more on what these athletes are facing.
On these Concept 2 bikes, the key for these athletes is don't stop pedaling, because athletes have told me once you stop pedaling, the bike starts working. It's not like other bikes that they've been on in past competitions where if you stop pedaling, you're still going to get some calories, you're still going to get some distance. It has a good residual effect. Not the case with these Concept 2s. Again, they stop pedaling. Essentially, for the most part, that bike stops working. And it seems like these athletes, for the most part, have figured that out, because you'll see a lot of them kind of slow down, slow their pace, to get their breath, to get their rest, but the one thing they are not doing is stopping.
Got to keep those feet moving. Thank you very much, Amanda. CrossFit Athletic, again, was the first team to get back to that bike. It's Fabrican right now, and Athletic are going 1-1 along with Mayhem Independence. And Chase, Athletic has had a history of good day ones.
Yeah, they have had a history of good day ones. Usually, when the team events we've had in the past games involved a swim, Athletic has taken the win in that event in the swim ones. We don't have a swim event here in event number 1. We're bringing in the Concept 2 bike, but Athletic, of all the teams here at the games this year, are used to that event 1 success.
We'll see how it translates here out on the North Park in day number 1 of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. We're about 6.5 minutes into heat number 2. We have a 16-minute time cap. Again, 3 rounds of 1,600 meters on the bike erg, then onto the 25 deadlifts at 715 pounds. They split them up into a set of 15, then a set of 10 as they advance the bar. They can break them up however they want to within those sets. But this is the second round of the 1,600-meter bike erg.
And each round is taking somewhere around 4 to 4:15. Maybe a little bit more around 4:30. Best time to beat is 14:11. So you can kind of see how that comes into play. It's about averaging 4:40s around it. What I'd like to see is the difference between two strengths. You have a pure monostructural movement in the bike. As Mayhem Independence, you know, we want to say they're a rookie team, but they're not really. You got Ellie Kabord and Darren Hunsacker. Darren's been on the team multiple years. He was back there in 2014 on the team. Kabord was on a games-winning team for 2 years, including last year's second-place team. So even though Mayhem might be, this is their, quote, rookie team, because he has some rookie athletes with them, there's a lot of experience on this second one.
And the female on the right, Krista Miller, a member of OC3's team in the past.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's kind of a, it's
fun to watch this
week. You know, I played for the Cowboys and now the Redskins, because OC3, I would say, is the main rival of Mayhem, at least in the central region.
Well, it's Athletic and Mayhem Independence. The team on the top of your screen, that's Athletic, and then Mayhem Independence next to them. Bottom of your screen, here comes Lone Star CrossFit.
It's Lone Star CrossFit is one of those teams I expect to do pretty well in this event, just because they had one of the top teams in the or top times in the world in that regional bike event. However, this is a bit different. Now we have 4 people pulling on the same bar. But a rookie team to the games, but some rookie athletes. But Jessica Alivet, she's second to the left. Right? She went to the Masters division as an individual last year. So there's some good experience, but these guys can pull some weight. Casey Vietor on the left, he's been trying to get to the games at least for the last 2 years. A little fun fact about Casey, he played for my brother in college football. So my brother got to coach him. I get to broadcast about him. It's cool to see Casey out there.
One thing they did discuss as you watch this deadlift and the athlete briefing, of course, you can't drop it, but they're going to consider a handoff as a drop, even if the barbell doesn't physically drop down, so you've got to maintain that grip. Balance will make their way back to the third round of 1,600 meters.
And I was trying to touch on this earlier when I got distracted by CrossFit Mayhem, is that there's 2 different parts to this event, obviously, right? We got the bike and the deadlift. But what that means is that you can have 2 different strengths as a team. Omnia, who won Heat 1, had the best bike in each round by about 30 seconds. What Balance is doing at the moment is they have about a mid-pack bike, but they have one of the best deadlift splits looking closer to about 20 to 30 seconds. And I said in Heat 1, even though the bike takes about 4 times as long as the deadlifts, the time discrepancy between your good teams and your weak teams is both about 30 seconds. So if you can be if you can be great at one section, you just have to be good at the other. And so what Balance is doing is they're cruising on the bike. That's a comfortable pace on the bike. It might not look too comfortable, but that's a comfortable pace. But they're crushing the deadlift section of this event, and that's where they're making their hay.
And that's a look at the monitor for CrossFit Balance right there. They're about a 152, 153 split.
And that's a pretty quick split. And what that split is, the 1,000-meter pace for the biker. On the rowers, it's the 500-meter pace. But just like a bike on, your normal bike that we saw on the individuals, you're a lot faster on there. So when you see this pace on the biker, that's how long it would take them to bike 1,000 meters if they kept that pace.
Your top 5, while we have a second while they finish up the bike. Fabrican in first, Balance in second, Athletic in third currently, Mayhem Independence fourth, and fifth, CrossFit Billings. Your top 5 now here as we are underway in the final round of this 3-round event. And we are at the 11-minute mark, 15-minute time cap. Time to beat again. Ami is 14:11, 2-1.
And what we've seen, the average split of these teams is about 330 to 340. Now, if you're looking at what pace that's going to get you at, that's about a 220 pace, right? We just saw a 150 pace on CrossFit Balance's monitor. So when you're thinking about, like I said, know your pace before you come to the race, is that if we could just sit at 215, we're going to be done at 330, 340. We don't need to bike that fast. And if you come off in that time, think how much more energy you're going to save before you go to that final set of deadlifts.
Team should be getting close here. We'll wait for the hands to go up. At a last check, they were about halfway through, so they should be on the back half of the 1,600 meters.
Now, like about Balance and Fabrican, who are your top 2 teams moving into the 3rd round, is that they have pretty similar heights across the board. There's only about a 5-inch difference between their tallest and shortest male to female athlete. That matters when it comes to partner deadlifts, because an even barbell is an even distributed weighted barbell. When you start seeing one height raised before the other, you're throwing that weight down to that partner who's sitting on the bottom of that.
Like how Balance just passed the chalk down there to exchange. That's some great teamwork. Crowd starting to fill in here at the North Park Stadium at the Alliant Energy Center campus. There goes Balance.
Now, Balance did a great job of pacing on the bike. In fact, it was near the same exact split for round number 2. And that's what we said coming into this, is that crescendo your effort as the rounds go. You might not go faster in time, but you're going to need more effort to keep the same pace.
Top of your screen, CrossFit Athletic currently in second. Right next to them on the right side of your screen now walking up, that's Mayhem Independence. But it's Balance leading the way. Now, this is the battle for second and third in this heat, not necessarily the event.
Balance with 10 reps left to go. Again, 2 of the fastest 2 splits we've seen in each round. I don't think anybody's going to catch Balance the way they're moving that bar today.
And they should have the new time to beat, which was 14:11, 2-1. They're sitting at 13:15 right now. Should be able to crush it. Now they're going to get across the finish line, and they will have a new time to beat by about 40 seconds. 13:26.64. That beat Amia's 14:11.
And it all came down to the deadlifts. Now, that was their slowest split by about 8 seconds, but they had that miscommunication towards the end. 1 rep left to go. One person dropped. The other person tried to pick it up, and that's where they lost their time.
Mayhem Independence will overtake Athletic for second place in heat number 2, and they will be second place overall. They're ahead of Omnia's time. Here comes Athletic. They will be third place overall as well, getting in under Omnia's heat 1 time.
If you want an idea of what this event is doing to these athletes, watch them try to, I'll put in quotes, air quotes, sprint across the line.
A relative term. You see the devastation. There goes CrossFit Billings. Billings should be around 4th or 5th place overall. They finished behind Omnia's prior time.
That's a great finish for Billings. You talk about one of the oldest on average teams here at the games this year at 34. The average age. Billings, I mean, it's almost like we have a Masters team out there.
A rookie team, yet almost a Masters team that just met last year at the regionals and got together. That is going to be Lone Star. A little mishap there. They'll have to go back. Check that maybe balance. There we go, lanes 10 and 9. That was Bitterslab on the bottom of your screen out of Denmark. They are going to make their way through. They've got a little less than a minute in this time cap, 16-minute time cap for these teams.
And talk to Butcher's Lab, who just crossed the finish line, and how I've loved the 4-person team format is that it's changed the game in terms of which affiliates can qualify back again. Butcher's Lab hasn't been in the game since 2012. And I remember seeing 2010, 2011, 2012. This being a very familiar team name. So it's cool to see these kind of like old guard teams back into play with this new team format.
30 seconds remaining in the cap. 2 teams on the floor. There's CrossFit Jawala out of the Atlantic. They punched their way in this year after narrowly missing a year ago. They're on the floor with CrossFit PBM out of South Africa. Those are your 2 teams remaining. There is PBM out of Pretoria, South Africa. 4th in the Meridian. They will find their way in. Jawala still working up top with 10 seconds remaining. Jawala will cap out. They're still on that set of 15. Their first appearance here at the CrossFit Games. But it's going to be Balance, who set a really nice pace, maintained it at 13:26, and they have the new time to beat.
And they did it in a different way that Omnia did in heat number 1. So what CrossFit Balance did is they took a page out of their what we're good at playbook, and it happens to be deadlifts. Omnia in heat 1 was good on the bike, and what Balance did is they just kind of kept pace with Mayhem. Mayhem was out a little bit early. You know, Fabrican was going 1 and 2 with Balance. Look at the speed of the bar that Balance did. And what did we see? We saw them passing the chalk off to each other. They have a little chit-chat on the bikes while we're biking 160, but they saved it for the deadlifts. And when you're putting 30 seconds each round on every team, you don't have to bike fast. And it paid off across the Balance.
So Balance with a 13:26, the new time to beat. In fact, your top 3 overall now are the top 3 in this heat. Balance, Mayhem, Independence, and Athletics. You see the rest of the teams, how they stacked up here in heat number 2. So 2 heats done. Balance has the time to beat with 2 heats remaining from the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. Teams for heat number 3 of event number 1 taking the competition floor at the North Park Stadium at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin for the bike and deadlift. The fans making the way into the Alliant Energy Center as well. Beautiful day to start off the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. I'm Jeff Brightwood alongside Chase Ingram. We'll hear more from Amanda Krenz of the competition floor a little bit later. Well, 4-person teams, we've seen how they've worked at the Invitational, the Regionals, and now a couple of heats here at the Games.
I'm starting to rub my hands together in excitement because event 1 underway for the teams. That 1,600-meter bike, 25-team deadlifts, that barbell weighing 715. But I'm looking at the names coming in. OC3, Salt Lake City, CrossFit Fort Vancouver. As you move into Heat 3, these are some of your podium contenders in these next 2 heats.
And that's a look at that deadlift bar. As you've seen the event, how it plays out. Here's how they line up. And you have referenced some of these teams out here so far. Black in lane number 5 towards CrossFit with an individual vet, Jamie Hagia. Lane number 6, CrossFit OC3. One of those teams you look at, Chase. One of the best teams yet to get on the podium. Could this be the year they break through?
Just a strong team all across the board of these athletes. And when you look at them, they're also very similar in stature. They're very similar. They're strong females, strong males. OC3 is one of those teams that pushes mayhem at the regional level. I want to see them step that up to the games level this year.
Well, they make their way as we are underway in heat number 3 of event number 1 on to the Concept 2 bike erg. 1,600 meters to start things off.
Now take a deep breath, calm down. You don't have to bike as fast as you think. And what we said before, if we want to come off in around 3 minutes to 3:30, which nobody's been able to hold 3 minutes for all the rounds, it's been about 3:30. You're looking at a split on your bike. That's about 2:11. So that's going to be your 1,000-meter pace on the bike erg. First time seeing it in competition. Look how calm. This is what we want to see. I'm not rushing. I'm relaxing my arms. Maybe not even rest that hard. Good. I'm not saying he heard me in his ear, but you don't want to just sit there and hunch over. Sit upright. We don't need to, we're not racing bikes for real on the concourse like we just saw. Look, you don't need to hold the low bars. Just sit up there and breathe. Let your legs do the work. You don't have to go that hard off the start.
So again, 1,600 meters, then on the way to the 25 deadlifts. We'll break those up into 15, then roll it over the line for a set of 10. It becomes kind of mini sets after that, as you see the round 1 marker at the bottom of your screen.
And we've seen in the first 2 heats a tale of 2 strategies paying off well for those teams. CrossFit Omnia won heat number 1, being fast on the bike. So they put all their effort there. They're about 3 minutes and 3:15 when your average pace is about 3:40. So they get about 30 seconds on the teams per round on the bike. Deadlift's not so much, but it didn't matter because they got so much time there. Balance, who now has the time to beat at 13:26, they put all their effort on the deadlifts. And that ended up paying dividends for them, now having the best time. And that's what I was saying when we touched on it. The pace is about 2 minutes to 2:15 on the bike erg. You should know that before coming in. You should have seen that in the first 2 heats. You're going to need to increase your effort to maintain the same speed. I don't expect rounds to go faster, but I want to try to maintain. The transition, that barbell is going to move down the field by 30 feet around. And as we move down, that means more distance. More distance means more time. You need to have flawless transitions from bike to bar and bar to bike.
For your references home, looking at this wide angle, lane 1 is at the top of your screen. Lane 10 will be at the bottom of your screen as we try to help you identify who is where throughout this competition this week. So lane 1 at the top of the screen. As we start here from lane 10, make our way up the floor on the Concept 2 bike ergs. When the judges' hands off to the right go up, they are nearing the end. We see a couple of hands starting to make their way up. Then on the way to the 715-pound deadlifts. Lane 5, that's going to be Salt Lake City Black. Then at the top of your screen in lane number 3, that's going to be CrossFit Raw out of the Atlantic. A little bit different barbell than we saw at the regionals when the 4-person teams would split into pairs with your normal 45-pound barbell. These are a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter bar. Amanda Krenz, who is our 3rd member of the broadcast crew, is on the competition floor. And Amanda, you're going to have to find a way to grip this barbell.
Jeff, you said they're a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter. These things are humongous. They are absolute beasts of barbells out here. And it is interesting to watch the athletes grip that fat bar. You're going to see different techniques used. You can see there, they're almost cupping their hands to lift that bar up. Very few of them are actually even able to wrap their thumb around. Some are, and they get that good grip, but other ones just have to basically cup the barbell in their hand. That's going to use a little bit more of your forearm if that's what you're going to do. And then watch when they roll it forward. That's a whole other challenge. You have to keep that thing in your lane, so if someone's pushing it too hard on their end, you're going to curve around, and you want to keep that thing in a straight line. So this thing is a huge test for these athletes.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Chase always talking to some of the athletes, and Amanda actually yesterday, the athlete briefing, almost mimics kind of that monkey grip you have on farmer's carries if you're using the big farmer carry handles or a really heavy kettlebell.
And what do farmer's carries tax the most? Is your grip, your forearms, and your shoulders. So it's not just the weight that's the challenging part of this implement. It's the team communication and cohesiveness. Everybody's pulling at the same time with the same effort. But it's just the fact that can I even hold on to this barbell as I pull it up the body? And I think one thing people don't really take into consideration is think about the width of the bar. That is much bigger than your traditional barbell. And if that's thicker, it means it's further away from your shin. If it's further away from your shin, that's a heavier pull off the floor. It doesn't make the bar heavier, but it makes it feel heavier, right? When you take a deadlift off the floor, you want to pull that as close to your body as possible. They don't even have a choice. It sticks so far out now.
So you have Torrance CrossFit, Salt Lake City CrossFit Black, and then CrossFit OC3, your top three. They're at the top of the screen. Torrance, as you watch in the blue, the leaders. Second, third will be in red. That shows you how many reps behind they are. The big mover, though, in round one, Chase, Vancouver got off the bike at nearly 3:29. I believe they were in 8th place, but they're split on the deadlift just under 51 seconds.
Yeah, so they have the fastest split. Vancouver does. You're talking about a team, we talked about experience. Fort Vancouver, along with Invictus, 10 straight years of team competition. All right, we're talking about a major advantage for CrossFit Fort Vancouver.
Adam Neifert, their captain, he has been to the games every year since they've had team competition affiliate cup. Rumor was could be his last games. He may just go to coaching. Caught up with him in the check-in area, and he kind of said, maybe not. We'll see how it goes.
The old Brett Favre answer.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
There's Adam on the right side of your screen. He has been the captain, and boy, what a career he has had, and what a job he's done with that affiliate, CrossFit Fort Vancouver.
I don't think it's stated. We say it a lot, but I think just think about that. 10 years consistent on the team side of competition. Now we've seen other athletes like Ben Smith, Becca Voigt on the individual side, and that's a feat in and of itself. But to keep being one of the top members in your affiliates when you got new blood rolling in every year, I mean, I'm sure these guys got people lining up to be on Fort Vancouver's team. To be that rock for 10 straight years, that's one of the more impressive feats I've seen athletically here at the CrossFit Games.
They won it 2010, and it's not like the team has faded. They were on the podium a season ago when they finished third here.
Right, and that's kind of the way things go. They're not only good, but they're consistently good.
Round number two, the bike deadlift. Again, 1,600-meter biker, 25 team deadlifts each round. This is round two. It is heat number 3 of event number 1. We are 7.5 minutes into a 16-minute time cap. Lane 5, Salt Lake City Black, making their way back to the barbell. Nick Wood is their team captain.
The Salt Lake City, as they had the fastest split, picking up where they left off in round number 1. And they actually had one of the top 5 splits in the deadlift, so there's a pretty balanced team so far in the first round.
9th at the 2017 Reebok CrossFit Games. They did get an event win a season ago. CrossFit OC3 off to the right side is OC3 currently in second. And now OC3 is going to grab the lead, and that's the team with some experience, 2-time Games veterans.
I mean, OC3 has a lot of success at the Games level, usually in worm events, which require a 4-person, 6-person last year team cohesive communication and movement. So this is one of those, it's the deadlift version of the worm, you could say. I'm sure they're happier to pull a bar than the worm off the floor. But OC3, strong athletes on the men and the women's side, all around that 5', the 5'6" to 6 foot area or height. These guys have been together for a long time, and it's showing so far in this heat.
So OC3 and Salt Lake City Black, your top 2. Followed by CrossFit Fort Vancouver. Again, the 3rd straight appearance for OC3 a year ago night. In 2016, they were 5th. And in 2015, remember, they went by the name Team Rollins. And in 2015, they were smashing the Central Regional and the first Rich Froning Mayhem team. They had kind of a freak injury on a GHD with one of their female athletes, missed the games, but you can tell how good they were in 2015 despite that injury.
And the only thing that happens when you move from 6 athletes to 4 athletes is it makes all the teams better.
Right.
A lot of times you've seen at the games, at least in the last 2 to 3 years, especially with the super teams, is that you are at a massive advantage in the last couple of years by having 3 good athletes, especially 3 good female athletes. Now when we move from 6 to 4, it brings more parity to the team side. It's easier to find 2 solid guys and 2 solid women for the teams. And what that's done is I think it's going to elevate the competitiveness here at the CrossFit Games. Right here in the shadows of the Zeus rig on the left, Salt Lake City Black. The team on the right side of your screen, CrossFit OC3. Those are the teams battling for the lead here in heat number 3. The time to beat, 13:26 by CrossFit. Balance your 10.5 minutes in to heat number 3 of a 16-minute time cap. And this is that third and final bike. On average, these teams sitting pretty usual as we've seen, 330 to 340. You should know your pace by now. You time to get on the bike. 2 to 215 is the pace you need to go. It should be comfortable. You see Fort Vancouver sitting on your right. Just, it's just legs, sitting up, trying to catch your breath, knowing full well is that if we come off towards the same time as OC3 or Salt Lake City, who's on the left, it's going to come down to can you hang on to the bar longer than you want to in those final 25 deadlifts. So as you look at the split screen here are your leaders. On the left split screen, the far left team is Salt Lake City Black. They are in second. The team on the right side of the left split screen is OC3. They're in first. Right screen all by themselves, that's third place, CrossFit Fort Vancouver. 11.5 minutes into this heat number 3, so they are about 2 minutes away from trying to beat the time to beat by CrossFit Balance of 13:26. As they're finishing up their third leg on the Concept 2 bike, let's start looking at deadlift splits between these 3 teams. Round 1, OC3, 50 seconds. Round 2, 51 seconds. Very consistent on the barbell. Salt Lake City, 53 seconds round 1, a minute and 1 second in round 2, so they're trailing off a little bit. Fort Vancouver, 9 seconds slower from 1 to 3. So if OC3 can stay within 10 seconds of Salt Lake City and Fort Vancouver, they could win this heat. Or you can just get off the bike first. If they can get this set of 25 in a minute or under, or repeat their pace of around 50 seconds, they'll have the new time to beat. Now, don't blow yourself out on the first 15. We saw a few teams do that in the first 2 heats. Keep talking, keep breathing, you just got to move. When it comes to deadlifts, it's such a short range of motion that there's really no other way to make it go faster. You just end up making it harder. Do your first 15, race your last 10. OC3, the right side, moves the barbell forward. They're at 12:48, 13:26, the time to beat. And they'll try to be the clubhouse leaders of 1 heat remaining, and it doesn't appear they're going to break the set of 10 under 5 reps remaining for OC3. And they'll sprint across the line. They're going to have the new time to beat. 13:10.26, and OC3 is the overall leader in event number 1 with 1 heat remaining. And that's some savvy movements by Colin Carty. Is that, he's the owner of OC3, but he had the chip timer on his ankle. So the other athletes who were jogging through, he knew the time stopped when he crossed the finish line. So a good move by Colin. Now you'll see Salt Lake City CrossFit is in, but they will not be second place overall. They were unable to beat Balance's time of 13:26. So CrossFit Balance from the prior heat still hanging on to second place overall, but OC3 at 13:10 still the overall leaders. And if you just follow their success at the regional level, when we had the partner assault bike partner deadlifts, they were in the top times in the world across all regionals. CrossFit Fort Vancouver, Adam Reifer's team is in their 11th appearance in lane number 9.
So not a bad finish at all with one heat remaining at 14:06.99. So the top three stayed in the top three. OC3, Salt Lake City CrossFit, and CrossFit Fort Vancouver. Some more teams making their way in. But the only team that did get in ahead of Balance is OC3. So everyone else is going to be at least third place or further down because Balance held on to second place overall with the heat remaining. Bottom of your screen, that is the team out of Spain, CrossFit Norte Redondela. Third in the Meridian. First team from Spain to qualify for the games. All rookies. And what another outstanding year in Madrid for that regional, the Meridian. 1-2-1 will be the next team in, followed by Torrance CrossFit, Jamie Higia's team. Last few reps here. Lane 4, that's Torrance CrossFit at the top of your screen out of Torrance, California.
It's a somewhat surprising finish. I would have expected a little bit more from Torrance when you got some strong guys on that Torrance team.
I think their legs, their four legs, I don't know if sprinting is the right word.
So Redondela is in and Melbourne still out on the competition floor.
As you see this, you're starting to see the event take shape after 3 heats. What really is the most important piece of this event? And it's coming down to the deadlifts. We've seen your top 2 times over the last 2 heats come from teams that could do their deadlifts in 50 to 55 seconds or less. Nobody's really separating themselves on the bike that much because if you push too hard on the bike, you're going to take so much more away from your deadlifts. So as we have 1 more heat remaining, we know where the money's going to be made. That's on the deads.
And they're going to have to chase down this OC3 team, a team we expected to be a contender, a top 10 team from a season ago, and they are trying to get their way onto the podium here in 2018. They set a time of 13:10 to beat.
I said Melbourne coming up to the bike. We have Torrance, one of those rookie teams that has some decent experience. Didn't have the finish we thought they were. Salt Lake City was out to an early lead, starting to slow down on the deadlifts, and you see OC3 on the right made their move at the end of round number 2. And what we said is they had the best deadlifts of the group. They got off the bike first, going in that 3rd and final round. And just with the strength that they have across the board between their men and their women, that sprint across the field for Colin, I want to see how that shakes out in terms of times in between other teams going into this 4th and final heat.
OC3, 13:10.26, your time right now. If they can hang on, they would have 100 points, but you got some heavy hitters coming up next in heat number 4. It's on the way from the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. On the Alliant Energy Center campus, we're in the North Park Stadium on day 1 of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. We're getting set for heat number 4 of event number 1, the bike deadlift, as the fans continue to pour in. I'm Jeff Brightwell alongside Chase Ingram. We'll hear later on the floor from Amanda Krenz. 4-person teams. We've seen them in the Invitational, the regional, so far here in the games. And boy, it has been fun through 3 heats.
It's been fun through 3 heats, but we've had some fun kind of regional trash talk, which I love to see at the competitive level. This is what we got. 3 rounds for time, 1,600-meter bike erg. Everyone will be doing this at the same time, and then they'll move to that thick, long axle bar, 25 team deadlifts at 715 pounds. And if we've seen the first 3 heats go, it's going to come down to how these teams handle the deadlifts.
We have got the heavy hitters here in heat number 4 and lane 7. CrossFit Mayhem Freedom trying to get back to the top of the podium, but a lot of these teams, Chase, Invictus X, Don't Stop, Back Bay, Max Pulse, have a lot to say about it.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see how Mayhem responds to last year's disappointment, second place finish disappointment in this new format. Other teams in this event in particular, CrossFit Invictus X. You have the dancers out there, Sam Dancer, Jen Dancer, 2 of the heaviest hitting deadlifters in all of CrossFit. Sam can almost deadlift this barbell by himself at 715. But there's other teams that I want to see fight for those top spots, right? You got Invictus X, Sam Dance on the right, Jen right there on the left side of the female pair. These guys are going to, they should be so excited that this event, I would be excited to be their partners because I know I won't have to deadlift as much. It would be the only time I'd be excited to do a deadlift event if I have Sam Dancer next to me.
And you talk about a new team, but experience. They were on the podium for Conjugate's team back in 2014 when Sam pulled that massive deadlift. Still, I believe, the heaviest deadlift at a game.
Sam pulled 650 pounds at the CrossFit Games when they were on Conjugate Blacks that took that podium spot back in 2015. But this is a team, you got Wesley Redwill, CrossFit Games individual athlete last year from Invictus. In fact, he got in because Julian Alcaraz bowed out because he was about to have his first child. And with this Invictus team, you know, and don't leave out their 4th and final athlete. You got Caitlin Cassis, tall. She's 5'7". Like, all these athletes are right around 5'7" to 6 foot. So not only are they strong, but they're all basically similar heights. So this is, I would say Invictus has the best chance to set the time to beat.
So that's one of 3 teams under the Invictus banner, and they are here in heat number 4 of event number 1. Take a look across the competition floor. Lane 1's the top of your screen. Lane 10 is the bottom. There's the face of CrossFit, whether he's individual or team. Rich Froning, a 4-time individual champ. He's won 2 affiliate cups, but as you mentioned, second place team. And when we mention team records, times to beat in the past, we will be talking about this Freedom team, even though they do have the Independence team. We blocked all the records with this Freedom team.
Now, one thing we didn't see last year from Mayhem Freedom is that they didn't have the usual event wins that propelled them to one of the most dominating team performances back in 2016. Wasatch Brutes from last year were unfazed, and they didn't bat an eye at the prowess of Mayhem Freedom from last year. They're retooling. They now have Tasia Persephich on their team, CrossFit Games individual athlete, to basically buff that team up just a little bit more. I think they needed a little bit more strength on their side when it comes to these events. Matt Hewitt, an unsung hero on Mayhem's team.
Well, Matt in the past has been in the shadow of Rich when James Hobart was on the team, but he is a huge factor in the success of Mayhem Freedom.
That's what I haven't seen so far. Rich has gotten off of his bike when he was done. We've seen athletes sit on it and wait for the other teams. Just get off your bike and relax. Sitting on a bike isn't the most comfortable thing in the world.
Don't Stop at the top of your screen, the first team in lane number 4 to get to the barbell, but a lot of teams are going to be bunched up here, especially in round number 1 at 715 pounds. Interesting talk to Jordan Cook. He's on the left side of your screen. You always hear about teams, let's do this. It's a lot of kumbaya. We knew everyone. They're pretty blunt. They get along, but they're 4 very, as they call themselves, kind of bullheaded personalities. They want to hold it together for 4 to 5 more days of competition and try to win this thing.
Well, you got 3 individual games athletes on their team, between Cook on the left, Sheila Barton on the right, and Travis Williams. And then you have blanking right now.
Rachel Garibay.
Yeah, Rachel Garibay. I was going to say Rachel Campbell. Rachel Garibay, top in the Open in the world this year. I think top 7. So she's never been to the games as an individual, but she's been to that has had that success on her side. Now, what they need to make sure is that if they're all kind of, like a bunch of brothers and sisters fighting and bickering all the time, keeping that cohesiveness on the floor. We saw that kind of bite them in the butt a little bit at the regional level, where there wasn't the best team communication. I think a lot of times, Travis Williams wants to go as fast as possible and as broken as possible, as always. Jordan Cook's a little bit more reserved. Sheila Barton will kind of bark at people when necessary. But I think what they like about Garibay being in the mix is she's one of the younger ones on the team, yet one of the most calm, except when they come onto the competition floor.
Just like Ringo Starr,
there
the fourth Beatle. She's the drummer, holds it together. Well, we've seen 3 heats already come through the bike deadlift event, this test here in event number 1. So 3 heats have already gone. Amanda Krenz, who is on the competition floor, has caught up with a few of the athletes. And what are they telling you, Amanda?
I talked to CrossFit Balance after they won Heat 2, and what they had to say I think will resonate throughout this entire team competition. Remember how they were just sort of average when they were on the bike, but then they killed it when they got to the deadlifts. And I talked to them about why did that happen, and it's because they know each other, and they know their strengths, and they know their weaknesses as well, which makes them a very powerful team. And again, they were able to dominate in Heat 2 because they just know each other so well. So that's going to be something to watch with these teams that each have very different chemistries and makeups.
Tight one so far of Reebok CrossFit 1, Invictus X, Mayhem Freedom, your top 3. You see the top of the screen of CrossFit 1, Reebok CrossFit 1 currently in the lead. Time to beat 13:10.26. And that was set by OC3 a heat ago. And Balance still from heat number 2, still second overall. Chase, looking at some of the numbers through the first round, Reebok CrossFit 1 in lane number 10. They're at the bottom of your screen. 38 seconds on the deadlift. And remember, the 2-person deadlift with Wozni and Hendel, the height differential really gave them trouble at regionals.
It did, but because you have Spencer Hendel who's sitting on the left, who's 6'2", and then you got Austin Maliolo, who's on the far right side. But here's the thing. Austin, though he's one of the shorter athletes, is one of the best deadlifters for, I would say, cycling reps in CrossFit. He's built for it. He's got short legs, short torso, and really long arms. Right? But what that plays well is it plays well with their female athletes. And so when you're looking at that, they had a 38-second split on those 25 deadlifts. And you throw in Ashley Wozni and Cassandra Avini, who will be Cassandra Hobart coming up here soon, taking one of the most eligible bachelors off the market in CrossFit with James Hobart. But this is a good team in terms of cohesiveness because they train together all the time.
And Cassandra, a pure rookie really at the games, as Ashley Wozni has been in the team competition at the games. This is the second round of the 1,600 meters before these teams make their way back to the deadlift. Mayhem Freedom going to be in first place. They'll jog, but here comes Reebok CrossFit 1. I like how they sprinted to the barbell.
And that's what you need. You want to save seconds. All these teams are good. They're at the top of their game, at the top of their field. It's the transitions I was talking about earlier having such an importance and an impact on separating the best top 5 teams in this heat and in this event in total.
No doubt who the captain is. You're going to hear Austin yelling out the reps. Where they are blistering. Remember, 38 seconds to finish that first set of 25.
I mean, you can hear Austin Maliolo on the right side calling out the reps. Let's just talk about how hard that is to do. It's not just hard to deadlift this barbell 25 times, but to yell 25 times while you're working out, that's incredible.
Especially when it's illegible. It's not just a grunt.
Yeah. Now, I want to see a good jog on the way back. Get to the bike as fast as you can, and then relax when you get to the bike.
They've got about 4 minutes and 40 seconds, so they want the overall lead. OC3 at 13:10.26 right now. These teams are at 8:45 into the 16-minute time cap. And again, Reebok CrossFit Run right on your screen right now, the overall leader in heat number 4.
Now, their lead is about 10 to 15 seconds on 2 teams that are chasing them down. That's Mayhem Freedom and Invictus X. The advantage that they have is that the other teams they have about the same time splits on the bike, about 3:30 to 3:40, so there's not much of a difference. But a 38-second round 1 for Reebok CrossFit 1 on the deadlifts, a 46-second round 2. Two of the fastest splits we've seen in those respective rounds by any team in 4 heats.
To let you know, the top 5 right now here in heat number 4, Reebok CrossFit 1 leading the way, closely followed by about 10 seconds, as Chase just said, by CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. Invictus X is in 3rd. Invictus Back Bay, a team, another one of the Invictus teams, currently in 4th, and right now in 5th. CrossFit Seoul Miami, one of those non-super teams that you and I saw in the Atlantic that we think can make some noise this week.
They had a great performance at the Atlantic Regional, and that's when you see, that's what we wanted to see with this new format, is more homegrown affiliate teams in contention with some of these top super teams.
That's a look at Seoul Miami, who won the Atlantic. They were one of a couple of teams in the regionals from CrossFit Seoul, and they've had a little history here as well back in 2016. Todd Smith, their captain, he is a Games team veteran. On the left side of your screen. Again, OC3 in heat number 3, 13:10.26. That is the time to beat. And Balance from heat 2 still has 2nd place overall at 13:26. Again, we are sitting at nearing 10:40 of a 16-minute time cap. So 10:40 right now into the 16-minute time cap. Your leader right now in Heat 4, Reebok CrossFit 1, Spencer Hendel on the forefront of your screen, a 6-time Games veteran.
Seems like a decent pace they're holding, maybe a little bit more labor than we saw in the first 2 rounds. That's a pretty aggressive pace, I'll say it, for Spencer Hendel, but what he's going to end up doing is that he's going to get done early, get some rest, because the female athletes will take a little bit longer. And then when you get to the final 25, he's going to help out Cassandra. Cassandra's probably the weakest athlete on the team in terms of strength is concerned. Having her next to Hendel is the perfect spot for her because he can help her out when they get to the deadlift bar. So what Hendel's going to do, he's going to get done early. He's going to rest and conserve some energy. Wait for the rest of the athletes to get off, and then having him next to Cassandra side by side, I think is going to be a massive help when you come to the last 25 deadlifts.
First sets of hands that went up were Reebok CrossFit 1, CrossFit Seoul Miami, and CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, and then Back Bay's hand went up as well. Down the line, you see Invictus X hand up as well.
You see on the bottom right side of your screen, still on the bike is Cassandra. Mayhem is up ahead of them, but watch out for Reebok.
So here we go. They're at 12:13, a little less than a minute to have the overall lead here through one event and 100 points on the line is Mayhem Freedom in the middle of your screen, the first to pick up the barbell.
The time difference between their second round was 8 seconds. That's almost the same exact time they have over Reebok 1 at the bottom left and Mayhem up on the right. Look out for Invictus on the top right. Invictus X, they're moving that bar pretty well.
Here comes Back Bay, Invictus Back Bay, but it's Mayhem Freedom in the middle of your screen. But here comes Reebok CrossFit 1 at the bottom. Who'll pick up the barbell first? They are dead even. Who's going to cycle faster? Looks like Mayhem Freedom maybe cycling a little bit quicker. A no rep by Reebok CrossFit 1 at the bottom of your screen in lane 10. And it's going to be Mayhem Freedom. They are going to have an event win and 100 points at 13:02.21. Here comes Reebok CrossFit 1 at the bottom of your screen. They may be in 3rd place overall. Don't think they got in under OC3's time.
And what do we say that Mayhem Freedom was missing last year that got them that 2nd place finish to Wasatch Roots? It was event wins. Those things came in bundles in 2016 for that team. Starting off the weekend with an event win is going to set the tone that CrossFit, they didn't go anywhere last year. It's not like they're back, but that they have retooled and they are ready for this year's CrossFit Games.
We're on the 2 Invictus teams, X and Back Bay are in as you take a look at Mayhem Freedom. They get across the line. They have 100 points. And you mentioned it a heat ago. Let's reference that. Carty's sprint to the finish line saved them 6 points. They should have 94 points in 2nd place overall.
When it comes to this level of competition, It's the tiny details that have the most massive impacts. Sprinting across the line when you know you have the chip timer. Saving yourself 6 points. What is that going to mean come Sunday night? We've seen so many team competitions, individual competitions come down to mere a handful of points. And this is where those things happen. The what ifs and the if onlys, these are when those moments happen.
90 seconds remaining in a 16-minute time cap. And let's remember, we don't know everything Dave Castro is going to do. Last year, he brought the cut back in to the final event.
And the problem with cutting back to 10 is it takes away 30 teams that you need to put yourself in between those you're chasing or trying to keep away from you. So you need to make sure that you've established yourself well in advance if it is going to be like last year.
Well, here's Don't Stop in the middle of your screen right now. Travis Williams and Jordan Cook, Rachel Garibay, Sheila Barn. They are switching up right now. And you mentioned it, Chase. Maybe they went out a little too hot. We didn't see them early on, but they are having some issues.
And I said is that you can't put a female athlete on the outside unless she is basically a gent dancer.
Right.
And because you have the most impact on the edges. That weight is sitting there for you to pull. The middle ones are going to help you, but you can't have weaker athletes on the outside edges.
Well, they are in, and Don't Stop, who really coming in could have been a favorite because of their individual prowess as a team. 29th right now in event number 1.
And coming out of the regional, that was one of the teams that they created a team to win the CrossFit Games. That was their goal. That was the point, and they're not shy about broadcasting that. That is not basically the opposite of what Mayhem just did. Right? They came here to beat Mayhem. Mayhem takes first. Don't Stop. That's not the finish that they needed.
Mayhem Freedom makes a statement again after not winning last year, finishing second. Rich Froning's Mayhem Freedom team takes the event. And they've got 100 points to start competition out with 2 events here on day number 1. They got in ahead of OC3, who's going to should hang on unofficially to second place. We'll see where balance falls overall. But the sprint by Conley Cartine in heat number 3 saves him some points. But there's Rich Froning and his Freedom team, 13:02.21.
Right off the bat, there's just a lot of confidence with this team, and there's a lot of fear from other teams. This is one of the best teams to ever step on the floor at the CrossFit Games. Mid-pack the whole way through, with that final bike as they got up ahead of Reebok CrossFit 1 at the bottom left part of your screen. We thought CrossFit 1 was going to be able to run them down towards the end, right? But they kind of matched up here. What I liked about Mayhem is that they had a good blend of both. Reebok CrossFit 1 was fast on deads. Mayhem was fast on both. And that was enough towards the end to get them 100 points.
Well, there is Rich Froning, and an event win to start out 2018. He is with Amanda Krenz.
An event 1 win. So congratulations to you guys for that. Obviously, you are a favorite team coming into the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. But I would like to know, what was your strategy for this event, for event 1?
We tested it the other day, actually, but we couldn't put enough weight on the bar. We thought it was going to be 800 pounds, but we used 735, and I think today was 715. So we did 308 in practice. Independence actually beat us, so we wanted a little redemption on this one from them, not from anybody else.
So maybe even a pleasant surprise for you out here. Last year, you guys got second place. What has that meant to you? How has that motivated you throughout this last year?
Well, there's a silver medal hanging below the whiteboard at the garage, so that we see it every day. I won't let anybody forget.
Let me ask you the same question. Has it given you a little more drive, a little bit more motivation after the second place finish last year?
Absolutely. I just think that you come together as a team, and we're like a big family. We come train, hang out together, and you're not doing it just for the cup. I'm doing it for Rich, Lindy, and Tasia. You know, that's my motivation every day, is to come in and work hard for them. So.
Well, you're off to a good start. Thanks.
Thank you.
CrossFit Mayhem Freedom 100 points as they get the event win to start out the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. And OC3 will hang on to second, and Reebok CrossFit 1, they will get in there a little bit ahead of Invictus X. That's how they stack up through one event here on a Wednesday. Beautiful day. They've got an event left later on, but individual coverage continues here. So that'll wrap things up for event number 1 from the North Park at the Alliance Energy Center campus. For Amanda Krenz and Chase Ingram, I'm Jeff Wright. We'll join you a little bit later, but stay tuned. Coverage continues from the Reebok CrossFit Games.